Morning folks, how you doing? What a glorious, cool, clear morning. When I saw the weather forecast for today, I decided I needed to put a sandwich in the rucksack and get myself up the road. So I drove up in the dark and parked down at the end of this wee glen down at the loch side. This is Glen Ample. It's featured in a few of my videos, previous videos. So I'm covering old ground, nothing new for you today, but this is the third Monday in January, and according to the radio, I was listening to it driving up the road this morning, this is Blue Monday, so I thought maybe a wee chance for a catch up, and I'll give you a glimpse or two of my walk. I've been out and about actually quite a lot in January, but the short days, they conspire against taking the camera with me, because if I want to cover any distance at all, I've got to get my head down and keep going, and setting up the camera and blethering and then going back to retrieve it and stuff, it does take up a fair bit of time. So apologies that there's not been much on the channel. Well, there was the trip to Chaise and Sgiath with Mo and the van, and a couple of nice wee hills there. Now, I'm not going to do a massive amount of filming today either, because I want to get back down the road in a good time. I want to enjoy the drive home in daylight, but I'll switch the camera on a wee bit on the tops there, and maybe on the way up as well, to give you a flavour for my walk today. So Glen Ample, it connects, it's a kind of high level glen actually. I'm perched up quite high here. The reason that I've not got a jacket on is because I set off from the loch side, but I got my head down and came up quite quickly. I'm talking about the loch side, it's Loch Lubnaig there over your shoulder underneath Ben Vane, and then on this side here, in behind me, this track goes up and over and then eventually drops down to Loch Earn. And there's some lovely hill country here. This is literally, I'm standing on the lower slopes of the Corbett Beneach, and then there's the two Munros, Ben Vorlich and Stucacroin, just in behind there. Ben Vorlich sitting above Loch Earn, and then Stucacroin sitting on this side of it. And then this ground here that I'm going over, that's a wee Graham. I'm not sure that I can remember the names of the bumps on it. I think that's Meal Moor, I'm pretty sure about that. The middle one, is it Craigavaddy, I want to say? I'm not very sure. And then towards the end is the actual highest point, which I think might be Sgiath Chaise. Not very sure about that. I do have a map with me, so anyway, I see the camera strap flapping away there, so it's probably clicking and the mic is probably picking it up, so I'm going to march on, but I'll take you with me. We'll share one or two wee views. I'm not going to film very much, but then if we get a bit of shelter at any spot, then I might put the camera back on and have another wee blether, so let's go. I should have filmed that wee introduction here, folks. It's a flat cam here. You get a wee bit shelter from the trees in behind you there, and the wee burn gurgling away behind you there. So that's roughly where I'm aiming, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go straight up the flank rather than take an ascending traverse. I'm just going to go straight up, get my head down and get up into the sunshine, get onto the ridge, and then enjoy a bit of a view. So instead of looking at it, I better go and climb it, eh? folks. It's quite hard going through the longer heather on this fairly steep slope. Catch my breath a bit. So that's where we're heading. That's the middle of the three summits. And my inclination earlier this morning was to make a relatively short or easy day, to go straight up along the ridge, bag the middle summit and the end summit, and then drop down. There's a plantation of trees on the slope down closer to Glen Ample there, and that marks my turning point. So if I go along the ridge, looking down to my right, I'll see the trees in the distance below me. That's the best spot to turn. If I go beyond that point on the ridge, which I can do, I have to backtrack because there's no way through the trees. They're pretty dense, but I can skirt the edge of them. There's a wee burn that runs down. I know this area pretty well. However, I'm walking towards you and you're saying the hill's over there, but about 1.5 kilometres in behind you there, there's the wee summit, Meal Moor, which is visible when you turn on the road heading north along the side of Loch Lubnaig. You turn just close to the outflow of the loch where the water pours into the River Lenny. Well, that beautiful craggy hill with a mixed woodland, some conifers and some broadleaf woodland beneath the craggy summit, that's Meal Moor. So it's a well-kent hill. A lot of people maybe don't know the name, but they'll recognise the view from low down, and it's one of these seldom climbed hills. So this is actually a listed hill. It's a Graham, but the summit, as I say, is 2 or 3 kilometres that way, and I'm going this way because I just want to go and stand on top of that. It's a year or so since I've been up there, so indulge me folks. We'll go that way. I won't be able to film very much because you can see that sun is super strong. I can't really turn the camera very well, but I'll see if I can get a wee glimpse of it for you, show you the general direction of travel. So, right, I'm blethering here, but it's an opportunity to cool down and catch my breath a bit. Can you just about see that with the sun in your eyes, folks? That's the summit there. That flat prow that drops off steeply, and it drops off on all sides except the side that we're approaching from, so not too far. What I'll do is I'm going to traverse a little bit, pick up that wee saddle there, and then that'll give me a line onto the top. A bit tussocky here, stumbling about. So you can see the terrain now. I'm on that wee saddle that I pointed to, so the summit still a good way to go, but it's I'm tempted to say easier ground. It's still very tussocky, but I've not got much steep stuff now. It's just fairly gentle undulations up to the top of that, and then that's the true summit. That's the first time you've had a glimpse of it today. So away back there's a wee patch of trees high up there. The summit is just in behind these trees. But first of all, we'll go up and we'll get the summit, and then we'll have a wonderful undulating walk of several kilometres up here under these glorious blue skies. So a nice easy walk along the ridge here, up and down, picking off the summits as we go until eventually we get to my distant point where I have to turn off because my descent will be blocked by trees otherwise. And then when I get down into Glen Ample, there's a nice track in Glen Ample, so it's a lovely track walk all the way back to the car. It's uphill for quite a lot of the way till I reach the high point, and then I drop down and then through the trees. So perfect day for a walk, and I'm cooling down a bit now. It's quite hot coming up there. That's a grand view, folks. Can you see me? You got the sun in your eyes. It's looking down Loch Lubnaig to the outflow, which is the River Lenny. And then Ben Ledi, with a wee wisp of cloud over the summit dome. I'll turn the camera in a minute, I'll let you see that way so you don't have the sun in your eyes. So I think I can cool down a little bit now. I've just got an undulating walk along this ridge. I'm counting off the bumps. There's one, counting this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then there's one that I know is out of sight. So I've got 6 bumps to cross, including the high point. That's the Corbett on the right, Benich, and then on the left that's Stucacroin. Not even time for a morning cuppa yet, folks. I think I'm going to march on. I've got a flask and a sandwich in the rucksack here, but I think I'm going to benefit from the heat that I generated. Don't need to put a jacket on. I'm going to trundle along the ridge a little bit. I'll probably put the camera off for a wee while because it's pretty tussocky. I'll get along the ridge a bit and then we'll check in with you in a wee while. Well folks, that's me on the lowest spot on the ridge, this boggy Bialach. I realise I'm giving you a bit of a running commentary of my walk today. I wonder how that'll be received, something a wee bit different. Anyhow, just a blether, out for a walk and a talk. That's a nice view over there. That's well, this particular view hasn't featured in any of my videos before, but these hills have. The one on the right with the snow on it, that's Ben More above Creanlarich, and the one on the left is Stabinian, the one on the left with the wee top, the wee flat top. It looks like somebody's taken a cleaver and sliced a wee bit off. So the Creanlarich hills, Ben More and Stabinian above Glen Dockert there, and dropping down on this side into Balquidder. With such calm conditions forecast, I actually thought about putting the boat in the water, maybe going to Loch Voil at Balquidder or Loch Lubnaig. But I quite fancied an easy day in terms of logistics. Nothing to worry about, just need a sandwich and a flask, pair of boots. Just heard a stag roaring there, I don't know if you picked it up. There's also an aeroplane in the background. I think you're probably not hearing that. Okay, onwards. What a grand day for views, folks. It's a perfect day for hill spotting. That's Benvein in behind me there. There's a few Benveins in Scotland. That's the one close to Strathair above Loch Lubnaig. I know very little of the Gaelic, but I'm pretty sure that Benvein is an anglicised version of Vion. And Vion, I think, just means middle hill. Benvein is the middle hill. So and there's a lot of middle hills, so There's quite a lot of Ben Vians around, and there's a fair number of Ben Vanes as well. I got a bit of a weird camera angle there, folks, the camera pointing down to the ground, just to show you this terrain, these tussocks. With the walking poles, if you're travelling light and fast, you can hop from one to the other and you can cross this quite quickly, but I've got my poles away because I'm carrying the camera and setting it up here and there to share the walk with you. So these tussocky sections can be quite brutal, they can be fairly hard going, tortuous. And there's a fair amount of sections like this studied along the ridge. I've been meandering about trying to avoid them, but there's some bits where it's unavoidable without descending a long way. So keep on stumbling through them. We're getting there. There's a reason why you get these trackless hills all to yourself, folks. The terrain can be quite challenging. There we go. Well, there we are, folks. The summit is here or hereabouts. There's a couple of wee stones here. Somebody's dropped them there, marking what they presume to be the summit. It's good enough. I'm going to continue along the ridge a wee bit, folks, to a high bialach there, where there's a little bit of a drainage starting. I'm going to drop down in behind us there, but I'll go to the bialach and I'll follow it down until eventually there's the beginnings of a burn, and I might be able to tuck down and get a wee bit of shelter. There's not much wind, but there's a chill in the air up here, so I'll drop down a little bit and we'll put the camera on. We'll have a wee breather, cup of tea and a sandwich. So there's a bit of work still to do. We'll hike onwards yet, folks. And a beautiful lump of quartz. Got quite hot coming down there. I came down quite quickly. I did stop a couple of times. I saw the deer in the distance. I think I might have got a second or two for you. Hey, what a perfect spot. Might need a jacket on in a wee while, but not just now. I'm ready for a bit of lunch, folks. Quite hungry. Jelly and peanut butter. I'm quite comfortable sitting here, folks, but I need to think about packing up and heading down this hill. I'm mostly the way down. The glen is just a few hundred metres below us and behind the camera there, and then I have to cross the burn, pick up a track. The track well, it runs all the way through Glen Ample, but I'm beyond the watershed, so I've got to climb up. The burn that's in behind you there, that runs down and drains into Loch Earn. I need to go up and across the watershed, and there's another burn that drains down into Loch Lubnaig. So there's still a little bit of work ahead of me, but once I get down here I'll be on the track and I'll be able to move quite quickly. I'm going to move a bit faster as well because I'm going to break out the poles and put the camera away, so I'll wind the video up here for you folks. It's not the most exciting video I've ever made, and I'm very conscious that I'm filming old ground. If you've watched all the videos you'll have seen some of these shots before, but it was just an opportunity to check in with you in the month of January in this glorious sunshine. It's more like July weather this. So I hope you enjoyed this wee video, folks, and I'm planning on getting out and about again soon. I'm not quite sure where I'm going to go or what I'm going to do, but I do hope to get out and about a wee bit. I've got a few plans at home as well. I've got some work to do in the garden. I'm enjoying my garden, so I need to do a little bit of a winter tidy up and preparation for spring, which doesn't seem far away on a day like this, but there's going to be a sting in the tail. We're not going to enjoy this for much longer, I'm pretty sure. But I will get back to you in the not too distant future, folks. So as ever, thanks for tuning in. Stay safe, look after yourselves, and we'll get back to you soon. So bye for now.